Apologies for being off for so long. I feel like we could have changed the outcome of the election if we had been here. I know a lot of podcasters got involved. Notice I said podcasters. I did not say comedians. A lot of podcasters got involved. Look, if you have a presidential candidate or a major politician on your show and you do not fuck with them in any way, you're a podcaster. You're not a comedian. If you cancel an entire weekend of shows at the very last second so you can run yourself to Washington, D.C. to interview a vice presidential candidate and then post a picture of your arms around each other, you're not a comedian. We put out offers.
Yeah.
We put out offers. We told Kamala, we said, come into the Burbank studio, the old Burbank studio. We'll give you 20 minutes, talk about whatever you want. Never heard back. We told Elon Musk, we'll do a Zoom call, 25 minutes. We'll ask you questions about the Tesla truck. Everybody wants to know. We talked to Trump, Greg and I, for an hour in here, and then Aaron forgot to hit record.
My bad, guys.
And listen, if you're making $200 million a year, who do you work for? That's what I'd love to know. Who do you work for once you have you money? Because you work for someone. And I think it's weird. And it's not comedian-like. There's podcasters, there are comedians, and I don't think they're mixing anymore. I think you're one or the other. I think I've got some press lined up. I've got the Vulture piece coming out. I've got a couple of podcasts I'm going to do. I'm doing Marin next week. I'm going to do Tom Papa's podcast this week, and then very few others. I think an article for Cracked I'm going to do, but I've turned down a lot. Bad Friends, I love you guys. I don't want to deal with your bullshit. I might go on Bill Simmons. We'll see if Bill Simmons ever gets back to me this time. We have the same publicist, so it should happen, but we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith. But then I think once the special comes out, I think I'm going to get a lot more requests. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I want to go on. I may have gone on Rogan before just to have the conversation. I don't think I would now.
So look, I like Joe as a podcaster. That's what he's best at. Even though he isn't perfect, he'll say stupid shit and promote guests and comedians that suck and talk way too much about drugs and wacky bullshit that I don't give a shit about. And I think he's a bit of a political chameleon. If he has a right-winger on, he will agree with a lot of his points. And the same if he has a left-winger on, as long as he's not completely out of line. Which while some would think this is a good thing, it kinda seems like he doesn't have a lot of strong political beliefs. And if the Democrats would have put out a decent candidate, unlike Joe or Kamala, even if they believed the same things and had the same policies as them, but they were more charismatic, he would have voted for them. But hey, he's just a pothead comedian. But even so, he's more based than most of his peers, who vote blue no matter who. Then there is stand-up, which is...
There had to be a moment in history where a group of guys had to pull their buddy aside and go, hey man, you gotta stop fucking monkeys. Dude, she's cool. She does sign language. Like, sign language? You look over, the monkey's going like this.
Okay.
It's shit. Even most of his fans will agree he's average at best. Then there's Anthony Jeselnik, who, what I've seen of him, is a pretty great comedian. Then there's his podcasting, which is... I mean, he's been doing it a while, and yet, unless you're a big fan, you haven't heard anything about it. There's zero buzz. No clips or episodes have gone viral. So basically, each are great at one, and mediocre at the other. And I think some of Anthony's criticisms towards Joe is fair. However, I think his motives are bullshit. This isn't about whether or not Joe is funny, or what he thinks about podcasting. This is clearly a political thing, and despite Anthony being an edgy comedian, he's a lefty through and through, which is where his hypocrisy shines through. He'll make jokes on just about every taboo subject, but then he will get butthurt about what Tony Hinchcliffe said, or the Legion of Skanks, and his thing about Joe and how he interviewed Trump. Now if he said this stuff, and was consistent to the right and the left, and called them both out, I wouldn't have a problem. But then I saw this.
You've been doing stand-up, which is crazy to think about this, for 20 years now.
22 years.
22 years.
Yeah, it was a 2-year tour. I don't know if you remember this, Jimmy. You were instrumental in me making it this far.
I was? In what way?
You were the first person to ever put me on TV.
That's okay, great.
And in the very beginning, I didn't know if I could get on TV. My jokes were all about killing children. I thought... I thought I'm just gonna be like a niche performer. And then one night I was at Largo and I got off stage and I hear this guy go, "Great set." And I turn and I look and it's you. You're wearing a hat. You're like incognito. And I go, "Oh, thank you, Jimmy. That's great to hear." And you go, "We got to have you on the show." And I go, "Oh, thank you. Like I'm working with people on your show. I'm talking to them. We're gonna look at a set and kind of edit it down." And the whole time I realize I'm talking to you, you're just going like this. And I go, "What?" And you go, "It's my show." And this was a Monday night, and on Wednesday night, I premiered on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Well, we didn't want to waste any time, you know.
So let me get this straight. You're gonna get on your high horse and call out Joe, but then you're gonna go on fucking Jimmy Kimmel and suck his cock live on air? Fuck you.
Again, the state of podcasting, I'm disgusted with. I don't want to be a part of this. Even when I know our podcast is different, but even when I say that, I feel stupid. Like, I don't like being a podcaster. I don't like that in my bio, like JRVP is the first thing that comes up because while I'm writing the next hour, this would be the thing we're still doing.
He reminds me of a medieval restaurant waiter. His old demeanor, like, "Hello, may I welcome to," and you just want to go, "Shut the fuck up and bring me my giant turkey leg, you fucking nothing."